So you may or may not be able to tell, but we are currently slammed with orders. These are just our chairs that we have getting ready to go out in the next month or so. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through my plan to increase our productivity, increase our production dramatically in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Let's dive in. All right, well, welcome back. And so in this video today, we're gonna dive into really my plan to increase productivity, production inside of my business dramatically in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Hopefully that happens. And so you saw at the beginning of the video, we have probably a couple hundred chairs that are built and ready to be finished. We have, I think right now, around $250,000 in outstanding orders. And so we have a large backlog, right? So we're heading into the end of the year, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And so customers are really gonna be pushing for trying to hit these November deadlines or these Thanksgiving deadlines, Christmas deadlines, New Year's deadlines, stuff like that. So we've got to make sure that we are upping our game, getting product out the door, and also managing it wisely with employees and with processes as well. So I want to walk you through a couple steps that anytime you start to experience a growth spike that you need to consider doing. So number one is making sure that you're as efficient as possible with your current team. And so I see a lot of people that immediately just start trying to add employees. They get busy, they start adding employees. Well, if you have a broken system, you're just adding more expensive to a broken system, right? So if you have an incredibly inefficient system based on your current staff, if you add a bunch of employees to it, it's not gonna work. So for all of you guys out there that are a one-man team, or maybe you have a part-time guy or maybe a full-time guy helping you, as you start to get bigger and grow from there, you need to make sure, and this is kind of the goal, this is kind of the guideline, okay? You want to be able to produce around $6,000 to $7,000 per 40 hours of labor. So another way to say that is every full-time employee, every week, they should be able to produce $6,000 to $7,000 as a result of them being in the shop. If you can't do that, then you need to refine your systems. There's a couple of things that might be broken. Number one is your systems themselves may be broken. Number two, your employees might honestly just be working slow. And so a lot of people discredit this. They don't think this is a thing, but the pace at which your team works matters. If you work with a purpose versus meandering around the shop, that's going to make a 30-40% difference in efficiency over the course of the day or the course of the week, the month, the year, right? You can get 30% more done with just working on purpose for a purpose, okay? So number three, the third thing that you might be running into is that you're just priced too low. So let's say, for example, you and I build the exact same thing. It takes us the exact same amount of time, but you only charge $2,000 for the product. I'm able to charge $4,000 for the product. Well, I'm going to be twice as profitable. My time is going to be twice as valuable, even though we're doing the exact same thing. So number one is we need to make sure that we're not just adding employees to a mess right now from the standpoint of efficiency. So what I'm trying to look at is I'm trying to see of how much my shop is getting done, what percentage am I paying them. My goal is always to be around 15%, which when I started, it was around 20%. I wanted to be around 20% in labor. So what that means is for every $1,000 produced in my shop, I don't want to pay out any more than $200 in labor. So let's say that we get to the end of a pay period. I look and see what we produced. We produced, let's say $20,000. $20,000 in goods got produced. Okay, I don't want to pay out more than about $4,000 to $5,000 in labor, max. Really $4,000 is what I want to pay out in labor for that $20,000. So based on my current team, based on our current payroll, we need to be getting at least $38,000 to $42,000 done every 2 weeks based on what we're paying out in the shop, okay? So that's number one, is we want to make sure that we're actually tracking and understanding our metrics around efficiency. A lot of you guys don't have any idea. You just grab the next invoice off the top of the stack and get busy on it, and you're not actually tracking what type of time am I putting into this? What type of hours am I putting into this? What type of time is my employees putting in this? Am I as efficient as I should be? So number one is tracking analytics, making sure that we're not inefficient. Number two is implementing systems to get more efficient. So it's really standing back from a 30,000 foot view and seeing what is working and what is not. Your shop should be in a rhythm. There should be this type of rhythm of we start something every day, we finish something every day, we're working on these things every day, and it just starts over every single day, and product moves down the line to get done. Really evaluating the systems that you have. And so also with that, you're watching your employees, how they function. And then the second part of that is that you're looking at how can I make things easier on my employees to get the same result, right? So if somebody is down on the floor scrubbing and sanding something, how could I make that way more enjoyable, number one, and way easier to get the same result? And so one of the big moves that we've made is we've moved originally from regular orbital sanders, little Vaught orbital sanders, to we're using these Bosch gear-driven sanders, right? It's going to take off a lot more material a lot faster. It's going to increase productivity, right? Now, the next move that we just made was we got this wide belt sander, which should increase productivity dramatically. And so that's the second thing that we're looking at. You know, we talk about spraying paint or spraying finish. Well, as soon as you spray something, spraying it and moving it out of the way. So having tables that are on wheels, on casters, that you roll product in, you spray it, and then you move it out of the way instead of leaving stuff in your spray booth, that's going to make a dramatic impact on your efficiency. Now, when I was in my garage, that was different, right? And so if you're in a small space, you need to figure out, how do I expand my space? How do I take stuff out to my driveway, my backyard? How do I expand my space? But then also, how do I use my space most efficiently? So if you're doing a glue up on a tabletop, don't leave it in the middle of the floor. Stand it up and set it against the wall so you can have that space back and you can keep working on other things. It's that type of stuff, just thinking outside the box of how can I keep the ball moving down the field? That's what you're going to constantly be tracking. Those are really the two things that are going to matter most. And so, number one, knowing our numbers, knowing our data, how much am I paying in labor? How much are we getting finished every pay period? Number two, really looking at our systems. And then number three, once we feel like we have a good handle on those things, which we are working on it right now, I'm trying to get a couple big projects done so that I can run seamlessly, then it's just adding employees to the mix. So it's increasing your staffing, adding more labor, because let's say that on average I pay somebody $650 a week or $700 a week. They should be able to produce 10 times that, or at least 6 to 10 times that in product. So when we look at, okay, does the system work? Does our data make sense? Does the system work? Are employees efficient? Is the process efficient? Then we just add more fuel to the fire, essentially, with employees. That's really the plan over the next several weeks for us here at Iron by Iron Woodworks, is that we're trying to get this spray booth installed. It has been an absolute nightmare. We've been wrestling with the city for what feels like a couple months now on this. We're nearing the end, hopefully. That should be done. Hopefully in the next couple weeks, our sander's up and running. That should be done. And then from there, we reevaluate our processes, reevaluate our systems, and we just add more employees to it, as long as we're seeing our numbers trending the right way. So just to wrap up here, just a quick reminder, if this video was helpful for you, be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, be sure to let me know in the comments below. A couple resources for you. Number one is the Handmade Business Secrets ebook. That link is below. Doesn't cost you anything to check that out. It's basically where all of the stuff that I learned to get me to where I am today is inside of that book, okay? It's a short read. It's about 80 or 90 pages long. You're going to want to check that out. Number two is the Handmade Hero Academy course. If you're stuck beneath $10,000 per month, you're trying to get past that benchmark, check that out. It's one of the best investments you can make. And then lastly is if you're really trying to scale your cabinetry or your custom furniture business, check out the Woodworking Business Accelerator program in the link below as well. You'll hop on a call with either me or a member of my team, see if it's a good fit for you. And if nothing else, we make sure that every single call we're giving you some free counsel to help you take the next step in your business. So that being said, love you guys, appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.